Let's look a decade into the future. How does India become the global supply chain? How does, in other words, India supplant what China is doing today, being the manufacturer of everything that the world wants? Can India completely supplant China? Yes, it is possible, but there are a few challenges that India must overcome. This infographic walks you through those challenges, and small request to all of you to please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Here we go. Decoding global supply chains. A new global playbook is being written now. We think that, at least not just me, but many economists and many specialists think that the truce between United States and China is short-lived, that United States is going to find a way around the rare earths dilemma it faces as far as China is concerned, because China is today refining close to 90% of what the world needs in terms of rare earths. And I've told you in the past that one F-35 needs close to 920,000 pounds of rare earth materials, that is 400 kilos. And also, the United States has rapidly diminished its missile because of the 12-day war against Iran. It's not a war per se that US fought, but it deployed a lot of missiles, and it is believed that 10 to 12% or even perhaps 15% of all its missiles are now used up, and US cannot replenish them fast enough. For example, the Tomahawk, it is believed that you can only build 4 in a month, and you also need a fair amount of stuff such as rare earths to do that. And if the United States cannot get those things from China, it gets into a problem. That explains why US first came under the Biden administration to India seeking its help in trying to get access to the rare earths that Myanmar produces. Of course, India, as always, probably said that we don't want to do anything with it, and that's how the regime change happened in Bangladesh. I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm just saying this is how world events move. And I still don't know who is funding the rebels in Myanmar. And it is believed that more than half of Myanmar is controlled by the rebels, but then that means they have a lot of resources. China wants to back the Myanmar junta regime. In that case, who is funding the rebels? One wonders. Anyway, so these are all some of the geopolitical battles that take place all the time. Now, for India to essentially supplant China and become the world's global supply chain manufacturer, a lot of things need to go India's way. A lot of things also India can do it on its own. And this is just a look at what are the things that need to happen. First of all, the policy and investment. India's ambition to become a production powerhouse is based on the PLI, production linked incentives, the plan that has been in place for several years now. This works as a powerful magnet for foreign direct investment. I've done already a monologue on foreign direct investment and how much India has gotten, about 1 trillion in the last 25 years, close to $40 billion every year, FDI. And there are other things such as FPI and FII. Please do go back and look at that one to get more idea about how much investment India is attracting. Now, what is the pathway here? First of all, policy driver, Make in India PLI, that is the overarching concept. Bring in the capital investment by FDI and domestic. Do sectoral growth, like for example, manufacturing as well as pharma, and become an export hub, which is where the global supply chain comes. Now, let's take a look at the PLI success stories. What is the output of the current PLI scheme? Which are the companies that have really picked up? I think I won't say companies, but sectors that have done extremely well. For one, electronics production has soared. Domestic electronic manufacturing has more than doubled in just over 4 years. In 2021, it used to be 2.13 lakh crores. In 24-25, it has risen to 5.25 lakh crores. Likewise, in mobile phone export revolution, India has transitioned from a net importer to a major exporter of mobile phones, with export values skyrocketing by 9 times. Yes, 9 times. If you take a look at 2021, the numbers, exports was 22,870 crores. Today in FY 24-25, it is 200,000 crores or 2 lakh crores. Likewise, in pharma, India, which used to be importer, has now become an exporter, and it has also enhanced its national health security and export capacity. For example, in fiscal year 21-22, there was a deficit of close to minus 1800 crores, or 1930 I should say, but in 24-25 it has turned into a surplus of 2280 crores. So these are all the things, success stories of India. Now let's take a look at what needs to happen if India needs to become a global powerhouse with come 2035, that is 10 years from now. Looking ahead, projections show that India's industrial and manufacturing sectors are on a trajectory for exponential growth by the next decade. Exponential growth, not just 1x, 2x. The manufacturing market growth, the total market size of India's manufacturing is projected to more than double by 2035, reaching an estimated $2.24 trillion. In 2024, the number was USD 0.9 trillion, and that's expected to more than double by 2035 to $2.24 trillion. Also, in auto component global share, the current share is 3%, and it hopes to capture 8% by 2030. That is actually 5 years from now. Right now, India's goal is to become 8%, while the rest of the world is 92%. That is in the automotive sector. Now let's take a look at industrial sector's role. The entire industrial sector is forecast to contribute nearly 1/3 of India's GDP by 2035, up from approximately 20% today. That is a 50% increase, from 20% to 30%. Currently, it's around 20%, and it is projected to be at 31% in 2035. What is the primary hurdle that can derail this whole thing? Logistics. Despite the positive momentum, India's journey is constrained by one major challenge, that is logistics. Closing this efficiency gap is critical. We're going to take a look at the actual numbers involved. Logistics as a percentage of the cost is around 8% for the entire world, whereas India is at between 13 to 15%. In other words, just moving things from, for example, a manufacturing place to say a port from where it can be put on a ship and exported, this part has still got to improve. India is at between 13 to 15%, say 14%, whereas the global benchmark is around 8%. So that gap has to be trimmed. How is that possible? Well, the way to do that is, first of all, infrastructure gaps. Poor road quality has to be fixed, congested ports, and fragmented rail networks. These are the ones that slow down movement. Regulatory hurdles, like for example, complex customs, differing state level rules, and compliance issues create delays. Sector fragmentation. The logistics sector is dominated by small, unorganized players, limiting scale and tech adoption. So this needs to change quickly. Skill shortage, a lack of trained professionals in modern analytics, automation, and supply chain management is still lacking. I think those of you who are looking for a good career to pursue, just take a look at how you can make your mark in logistics. So, the verdict: India stands at a critical juncture. The next decade offers India a generational opportunity to become an indispensable nexus of the global supply chain. The policy frameworks are in place and key industries are responding. Success now hinges on aggressive, tangible execution of infrastructure and logistics reforms. I hope you like this presentation. It took us a few days to put all the data together, and this is all facts based on the data that we have collected from various sources. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.